It's confessions time. We're not having the drinks trolley because Susie's busy doing more important work.
Yeah.
To be revealed later. But producer Holly's in charge of everything, so she takes the rap. But you're very welcome.
Thank you, yeah.
I don't think you deserve a drinks trolley. You haven't got a drinks trolley, have you?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't think you need that. Okay. So we'll carry on without a drink. We'll just keep supping water. And tonight's smart speaker goes to listener Brian, who sent his confession to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk. Father Simon and the exonerating executive. My confession is slightly unusual, as I maintain to this day didn't actually do anything wrong, Your Honour. Nevertheless, it cannot be ignored that my innocent actions had quite a large impact upon quite a lot of people, and for this reason I seek your and their forgiveness. My tale harks back to a sunny summer Saturday round about 1969-1970. As a 7 or 8 year old boy, I'd been given my weekly pocket money with my shilling clutched. That's 5p.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Thank you, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten. It's 5p.
Thank you, yeah.
With my shilling clutched tightly in my hand, I headed into town, head full of thoughts of what I might spend it on. Some Spangles, perhaps, or some Callard and Bowser's butterscotch. Maybe even a bar 6. Your older listeners will now be nodding their heads in appreciation of my fine confectionery choices, as indeed I am.
Okay.
But Callard and Bowser butterscotch, they were very top end. I was very posh.
Oh, really?
Like your parents.
You get one of those for a shilling? Lovely.
I'm not sure, actually. Anyway, on this, I thought a guinea. On this occasion, however, I chose to purchase, and I can't for the life of me remember what they were called. Maybe your listeners can help. But they could be best described as mischievous prank stickers. It was a sheet of stickers with instructions about what to do with them in order to play pranks on those all around you. Now, I don't normally like prank confessions, but this one tickled my fancy. For instance, there was a sticker of a housefly, and the instruction to place this on a sugar lump in the sugar bowl.
Yes.
Different day. Sugar lumps.
Sugar lumps, remember
Sugar
that?
bowls.
No.
The idea being that a grown-up would see it and try and waft it away with their hands, but of course it wouldn't move because it was a sticker. Such fun, but this was... It's 1969.
Yeah.
Another sticker was a thin, jagged line on a clear background, which came with the instruction to place it across the corner of a window, giving the appearance of cracked glass. T and indeed P. Hilarious consequences abounding. However, the sticker at the heart of my confession was one which I have to admit I didn't truly understand. It was a solid red rectangle, inside of which were the words, "Condemned meat," in bold white capitals.
Okay.
My young brain had no idea what this word meant or why it might be funny, but I duly followed the instructions, which were to place the sticker upon some meat in the fridge. So I opened my fridge and lo and behold, there was a fresh, plump chicken purchased earlier that day by my mother, and no doubt intended to be the centerpiece of the family meal that evening. Having administered the sticker to the protective wrapping, I replaced the chicken and, thinking no more about it, headed off to find friends for yet another weekend full of cricket, football, drinking lemonade, riding our bikes, and good honest fun. Summers back then seemed endless and always warm, by the way. So that is where my involvement ends, as far as I'm concerned. I remained oblivious to what followed until Mum told me about it some years later. But this is how the remainder of the day unfolded. Mid-afternoon, Mum started to prepare dinner, took the chicken from the fridge and noticed the sticker. "Condemned meat." She immediately hopped on her bike and took it to the supermarket where it had been bought that very morning. Blood pumping and anger raising, she approached the meat counter demanding an explanation. The manager was called, who, on seeing the chicken with my sticker, apparently went white with shock, thought about it for a few seconds, and then took the only option available to him. "Clear the shelves of chicken!"
Oh, what?
Went out, "Clear all the shelves of all the chicken." The staff duly followed the instruction. As chicken was locally sourced back then, similar instructions were issued to the supermarket chain's other stores in the vicinity. Mum was no doubt reimbursed with sausages or a pie or something, so we didn't go hungry, but I feel I should apologise to my mother, to the supermarket manager, but mostly to all the families in the vicinity who were hoping to have roast chicken that weekend and who had to make do with something else instead. Also, I should confess and apologise to the head butcher at the supermarket who copped the wrath of the area manager, a small, uneventful man by the name of Terence. And if anyone out there remembers these stickers and could remind me what they were called, I would be forever grateful. Anyway, you see, I think that's kind of funny, really, in a
Yes.
strange, cacophonous way. Great fun could be had with those stickers. I vaguely remember them, I think. Anyway, let's check in with but a lot of inconvenience for a lot of people.
Yeah,
a
no,
lot
that's
of
true.
anger raised
Yes.
at the head butcher for this supermarket. Sister Holly.
Yeah, lots of reasons why I don't forgive this one. Firstly, pranking stickers. This sounds very lame. No offence. Maybe they were very bored in 1969. I don't know. But also, condemned meat. Wouldn't it be funnier to put a condemned meat sticker on something totally random that wasn't meat? You know, just on a random lamp or something. I would find that more funny than on a piece of meat itself. Why would you put it on meat? Confusing, which obviously is how this tale happened. Feel sorry for the staff members. All those wasted chickens, don't forgive.
No forgiveness.
Wow.
She's stern, isn't she?
Putting a condemned meat sticker on a lamp.
Yeah, that's
Holly-
hilarious.
Holly,
I
you're
would
the
laugh my head off at that. Like,
Salvador Dali of drive time there.
Kids today.
I'm going to forgive, and here's the reason why.
Yes.
Everyone in this, obviously the supermarket manager erring on the side of caution, I would say. Really, are you going to be putting food for sale with the words condemned meat? It's not as if you've got a choice. We go, oh, should we put this on for sale? It only has condemned meat. Maybe we'll take 20p off. No, it just doesn't go. So at some point he should have realised, that's not a real sticker. And have any of the other chickens got any condemned meat? No, they don't. So we're fine. So I don't think there's anything to forgive, because if people had acted normally, then everything would have been fine.
So you forgive. Holly
Yes.
doesn't forgive. It's up to the people's verdict. Do you forgive Brian? Yes or no? On the text, please 61054. Start your message with Simon. Tonight's confession came from Brian, the funny head with his condemned meat sticker, which led his local supermarket to clear the aisles of all chicken. He maintains to this day he didn't actually do anything wrong. Well, let's find out. The people's verdict is in. Here we go.
So Dell in Chrome says, forgiven. I remember those stickers. They were ace. All right, it's a prank that got out of hand, but a funny one and some great memories of the good old days. Gemma in Norwich, not forgiven. I remember those stickers, and my brother used to put the spider sticker in my room all the time, and I hated it. Dave in Brighton, not forgiven. Even if you didn't know what condemned meant, you still knew they were prank stickers and that they would cause trouble. Running off with your friends all afternoon suggests to me that you did in fact know you'd done something wrong and were avoiding facing the consequences.
If you have a confession, we would like to see it. Please send it to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk. 5:47 on the nose. Let's do a Tuesday's confession. We have Brother Matthew in the house, also Sister Holly, who's in charge of everything. Mm-hmm. So if anything goes wrong, that's where you point your finger. Tonight's confession comes from Dorset Girl. Simon, Matt, Holly, the fabulous Forgiving Collective. Despite this being a somewhat vintage tale, and one I've often thought about confessing, never got round to it. It's still important, though, to keep some anonymity, please, if that's okay. So I think Dorset Girl
Of course.
is fine. Cast your mind back to the mid-70s. A hot summer on a farm with many tasks to complete, both indoors and out. The garden of the farmhouse was large and rambling. And there was never time for the lawnmower, never any time for any other garden tool to see the light of day. So Dad had readily accepted the genius offer of the loan of a sizable goat to help keep the grass down.
Okay.
This goat went by the surprising name of Billy. Just thought you might like to know that. Anyway, this is the first appearance of a goat in the confession since the notorious Goat Down the Mine confession. But don't ask me to repeat that.
No, we can't do that one
we
anymore.
don't talk about that anymore.
because that's actually illegal.
Yeah.
Anyway, different times. So Dorset Girl says, age 15 and the only child still at home, the task list I had to work my way through was endless. And it more than filled the August school holidays, whilst I readily accepted my lot. Although not much thanks ever came my way, I truly appreciated the lovely rural setting that my school friends did not have. But I did, because I lived on the farm with my parents and Billy the goat. However, with only a few days to go before the new term started, enough was enough. I decided this particular day to take my book and transistor radio, to listen to the road show, by the way, and find a hidden spot where Mum could not seek me out, either physically or by yelling. My gran was visiting and was a willing ally, joining in my plan. The problem was, however, that Mum and the goat had taken an instant dislike to each other. Therefore, so that my poor dad could get some peace, the job of moving said goat in its pen around the garden, watering and feeding the thing, had been allocated to me. Not on this day, however. It was my day off. Before settling myself with my book and my transistor radio because of the roadshow, I checked that the goat was not in need of water or food and left it at that. However, when attention was denied, after a while the goat became noisy, and soon enough I heard Mum shouting, "Oi, goat, leave it out," followed by, "Oi, goat, shut it.
Shut it.
Billy, knock it off." And there she was, shouting for me to attend to it, or words to that effect. "Oi, Dorset girl, where are you?" Gran, true to her word, must have said something, because then I heard Mum loudly muttering about not knowing that I had gone out on my bicycle, so she supposed she had better do the necessary. How could I be so selfish? She wondered out loud so everyone could hear. Well, Father Simon, what came next could only be described as pandemonium, just visible from my hiding place. As Mum approached and gingerly entered the pen, the goat, maybe sensing her weakness, attacked. It knocked the bucket out of her hands, but not satisfied with that, headbutted Mum across the other side of the pen. And while she scrambled up to head out of the pen, the goat pawed the ground and charged, head down. "Take that, you pesky human," it seemed to say. Goat's head met Mum's bottom many times. Now, I'm not going to ask for forgiveness for reneging on my task that day, making my gran laugh until she cried. Always good to have gran support.
Yeah.
Or the sizable number of bruises that my mum sustained, but I am going to request forgiveness from my poor dad, who seems a little bit absent throughout the whole thing. Despite getting his ears boxed for a long time because of this, and clearly working out that the cause of the fuss was down to my plan, aided by Gran, she never gave me away to my mother when the tale was repeatedly mentioned over the years. So I'd like to ask for everyone's forgiveness, please. All the best to you all. Dorset Goat Girl is how it signed. So we say thank you very much to the Dorset Goat Girl, and a beautiful segue. I think,
thought so.
from
Yeah.
one piece of music to the other, which impressed Holly on production duties, I can tell.
Yes, absolutely.
So now, goats don't normally make appearances in confession. This is for historical reasons, and the mere appearance of a goat will have made some people very worried. But I feel as though the goat is the star of this particular story. What do you say, Sister Holly?
Billy the goat, yes. Well, I don't know
Billy
why.
the goat, that's funny, isn't it?
I don't know why he had such a problem and was so picky about, who was feeding him and stuff. That was a bit strange. Also, did lawnmowers not exist in the mid-70s? A serious question I'm asking.
I think he was saying there wasn't enough time for the lawnmower,
Right,
which is why they got a goat.
A single goat, just one. Yes, I felt very sorry for the mother. It all went wrong. It was head-butting her. She got loads of bruises. That didn't sound fun. Not good at all. And so I'm not forgiving the Dorset girl, because she should have been there. She should have helped out. She heard her mother, dealing with all this, and she should have helped out.
You would imagine they're pretty nasty bruises. You've been head-butted by a goat in a pen.
Yes.
Anyway,
you imagine.
brother from another gutter.
Well, I'm going to forgive, and here's the reason why. If I learned nothing from the Dr. Dolittle movies, it was never turn your back on a goat, because likely the goat is going to charge at your backside with horns up.
She didn't turn her back. She was going in face
I'm
first.
pretty sure I took it very much that she turned her back on the goat. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And if we were to go back and delve into the records, that's probably what we would find. And for that reason, I'm going to forgive it. Nature's taking its course with a very needy goat and the mother's backside.
So the goat was just doing what the goat was designed to do.
Designed to do, quite right.
So it was evolution, in fact, is what you're
evolution
talking about.
in action in the goat with the horns.
Goat, bottom, goated.
Correct, bottom goat.
People's goat, please. People's goat. People's verdict, please. Oh my goodness. People's verdict, please. On the text 61054. Start your message with Simon. Do you forgive Dorset Goat Girl or not? 61054. First word is Simon. Thank you very much. Well, we had a confession from Dorset Goat Girl about how basically she allowed a goat to attack her mother. I mean, that's what it boiled down to.
Yeah.
With the complicity of her grandmother, who laughed until she cried. People's verdict is in. Here it comes.
So Beth Imbued says, not forgiven. Goats may seem like simple, friendly creatures, but as Matt says, their instinct is to butt when they feel threatened. Michael says, forgiven. Grans are always a wise sage to be trusted, and if Gran was laughing along, then all was good. And Sam in Glasgow says, not forgiven. I feel sorry for the mother. As someone who's been head-butted by a goat, it is not a pleasant experience.
If you have a confession for us, we would like to have it, and you send it to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk. Now, let's see what we have as we enter one more time into our confessional mode. Brother Matthew is here.
Yeah.
Sister Holly is in charge of everything that you hear, all the mistakes, which there are many.
Yeah.
She takes full responsibility for. Today's tale comes from Barry. Father Simon, I'm asking forgiveness for the following. Back in 2005, a year after Sam and I got together, we were both just in our 50s at the time. We were on holiday in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, United States of America. We saw a leaflet about hiring a Harley Davidson. So for someone who loved motorbikes, I suggested that we hire one for the day, and my wife was very happy for us to do this. The weather was beautiful, around 25 degrees Celsius, 80 degrees Fahrenheit in American money. We booked the bike, bought our new T-shirts, and we couldn't wait. Next day after breakfast, we went to the dealers wearing the Harley T-shirts and the denim jeans to pick up a Harley Road King. The guy advised us that we had to wear crash helmets leaving the premises, but in South Carolina, crash helmets were not compulsory. Obviously, they are compulsory here. As soon as we'd left the premises, I pulled up and removed my helmet and fastened it to the bike. I put on my gold-rimmed sunglasses, fancying myself just a little, and off we went. Yeah. The wind was blowing, the sun was shining. I felt like Peter Fonda in Easy Rider. And it's an old movie, Holly. Right. And I was singing to myself, Born to be Wild. It was like I was 16 all over again. We were heading for an old colonial town called Georgetown. After about an hour, I noticed it was getting dark, and I lifted my sunglasses, saw that big black clouds were ahead. It looked like we might have a bit of rain. I stopped to put on my crash helmet just as the heavens opened. It belted down. Later, we found out that it was the tail of a hurricane which had flicked the coast of South Carolina, and it certainly had a sting. We arrived at Georgetown. The first building we came to was a McDonald's, so we went in to shelter from the rain. We were soaked from head to foot. So I ordered 2 coffees and we sat down. A few minutes later, the front of house server came over to us. She was a mature lady, a bit younger than us, probably late 40s, and she started to talk to us. She picked up that our accents weren't local and asked where we were from. We said we were from England. She got so excited. She said she'd never met anyone from England before and asked us how we got to Georgetown. We said we were on holiday, and a blank look came over her. And I said vacation, and then she understood. So she really hadn't come across us before. She then told us how much she had loved Princess Diana. She asked if we'd known her, and I said yes, of course, and then got a kick in the shins from my wife under the table. I said we just lived down the road from her when she was at the stately home at Highgrove, and I went on to tell her that we would often see her down the supermarket shopping, often a Co-op, but sometimes Morrison's, and she always bought cheese and onion crisps, Carlsberg lager, and usually a packet of number 6.
Nice.
I couldn't stop myself. Father Simon, the stories just flooded out. I told her our friend was in the police and was part of the Royal Protection Team, and he looked after William and Harry. The kicks were now coming regularly from Sam. I said that although these days William and Harry did their official duties watching rugby union, they really preferred rugby league and were deep, profound, passionate Warrington Wolves fans. She had no idea what rugby was, but my brief explanation of it being a bit like American football without the helmets and body protection was enough for her to realise that this was a tough sport. So she got us a coffee, she got us a refill, and she came back with a manager to introduce us. The rain stopped. Sue was really uncomfortable. Sam was really uncomfortable with the conversation.
Oh, well done. Yeah.
Anyway, we needed to continue our adventure, so we told them we were leaving. She said, please don't leave. She rushed off to get a piece of paper. She came back with a pen and paper, and she asked us for our autographs. So I couldn't let her down, so I wrote, to Rose, it's been a pleasure to meet you. Lots of love from your well-connected friends from little old England, Barry and Sam.
Sam.
Kiss, kiss. I have this image of it being framed and taking pride of place on the wall of her home. So I clearly need to seek forgiveness from Rose and also from my wife, Sam, for all those little white lies, because Princess Diana did not smoke number 6 or drink Carlsberg, and she wasn't, I don't believe, a Warrington Wolves supporter. We have laughed about this many a day since, and we are married, and it was the only rain that we came across in the whole of our holiday, which is, you know, something that we're not that interested in by the end.
Not bothered about the rain, really.
We don't really know about the weather. Anyway, Barry lying about royalty, which I think he can probably go to the Tower for.
Yeah.
But anyway, Sister Holly speaks now.
Yes. I love the fact that every time we're abroad, us Brits, you go abroad and you end up in a McDonald's somehow. You just end up there. But yes, I just thought the waitress, she was so sweet and so trusting and just totally believed everything that they were saying. And I can totally imagine in maybe small town, you know, somewhere in South Carolina, actually everyone being super trusting of each other and really believing each other. And so these guys saying these stuff, she totally believed it. She totally bought into that. And I just felt really sorry for her. I thought that was a little bit mean. I thought that was a little bit mean, Barry, and Sam maybe should have done a bit more. So yes, not forgiven, Barry.
Okay, we're down one here, but always forgiving a brother from another.
Yes, I thought that was very positive, Holly. Seeing the best in people, obviously, always the best idea. And clearly Barry was living his best life there, wasn't he? With his gold-rimmed sunglasses on his big Harley, doing everything, having a whale of a time. And to be honest, you know, this digs into a very common trope with the confessions of people going abroad and then claiming to know royalty or celebrities or whatever. I love it. No problem at all with it. If they're dumb enough to believe you, then lie away. And great mention of Warrington Wolves. So for that reason, right, I'm going to forgive.
I suspect there'll be Warrington Wolves fans saying, yep, absolutely, definitely going to forgive. But it's the people's verdict, please. Do you forgive Barry, yes or no? On the text 61054. Just before the news, we had tonight's confession from Barry. It was from South Carolina, where they met the woman who was in charge of the local McDonald's, and they claimed that they used to go shopping with Princess Diana, buying cheese and onion crisps, Carlsberg beer, and number 6 cigarettes, and also that the royal family supported Warrington Wolves. So they were the lies that were told, and the people's verdict is in. Here it comes.
So not forgiven, says Gemma. I feel sorry for the waitress. She absolutely believed Barry and Sam, and Barry wearing those gold-rimmed glasses, thinking he owned the place.
Hello.
Kathy in Bognor Regis, though, says forgiven. I don't think there's an Englishman alive who would resist the temptation to take the mickey out of an American who asked such a stupid question. We'd all get a gleam in our eyes and lie our hearts out. And finally, Tony says forgiven. Barbara and I were travelling in California in 1981 at a motel in Buffalo when the receptionist realised we were from England, asked if we were going to Charles and Di's wedding. Of course we said yes.
There you go. So those kind of things is what we're after. Maybe you have a confession for us after all. Send it to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk. It is the evening, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
Brother Matthew, Sister Holly in the house, in charge of things. If anything goes wrong, it's Sister.Holly. Today's confession comes from Grace and Larry, and it does take place in the 80s.
Oh, it
Yay.
does.
Simon, Matt and Holly, we have been listening to lots of confessions and thought it was time we submitted our own and perhaps receive absolution. Story begins in 1987. Right on cue. When video cameras were at the height of their popularity. My husband and I decided that we would like one to record our family stories for posterity and prevent them from being lost in the mists of time. The video cameras at the time were quite large and took a full-size VHS tape and were quite expensive. After much deliberation, we decided on a mid-range one that cost £2,500.
Goodness me.
Which was the average price at the time. Of course, we didn't have that sort of money, so we took it out on easy terms. We then came up with a brilliant idea of funding the repayments by doing wedding videos, so we put the word around and soon had lots of happy couples booking us for their special day. I have to say our videos were not exactly professional, but we were a good price and captured the moments of the day. Soon we were doing a wedding every week and then progressed to christenings. This was bringing our debt down quite nicely. Thank you very much. And one day someone asked if we would do a recording at a Masonic meeting for the Grand Master or Worshipful Master or Lord of all Masons or Ryan Mason, maybe. Keeping it topical, or Chief Banana or King of the Aprons, whatever. I'm not too sure what he was called, but he was very important and he was doing a very important speech. We agreed on a price of £30, and on the day we went along to the Masonic Hall with our special equipment, feeling very important and being allowed into such a secret society. The speech lasted about 45 minutes, and at the end we packed up and we went home. As soon as we arrived home, we put it on the TV to check everything and watched, horrified, as we realized that in this momentous moment, can you have a momentous moment? Anyway, a moment of momentousness, we had forgotten to turn the microphone on.
Oh, no.
The Grand Master looked very impressive, but he was basically miming his way through the meeting, making the entire recording completely pointless. Perhaps people could lip read, I suggested helpfully, but my husband decided that the best course of action, now this is very strange behaviour,
Go on.
was to dub music over it and hope that no one noticed.
Yes.
We settled, for reasons lost in the mist of time, on The Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston on a continuous loop for 45 minutes. Then returned the videotape to its plastic case, wrapped it tightly in shrink wrap that it would take 2 days to open. We duly delivered the tape, swapping it for 30 quid, and legged it home and immediately rang BT and asked to change our number. Sadly, this was the end of our video enterprise, as we had to go into hiding for a year. But we would like to ask the forgiveness of the Brotherhood, or whatever they're called, for ruining their historic moment. We definitely should have given it a little bit of thought, really, like switching on the microphone. It might have been the greatest speech ever given. We realised it might have contained profound wisdom. It might even have been the funniest speech of all time by a Mason. Alas, we will never know. To this day, listening to Whitney brings back horrific memories. I've just got Whitney Houston coming next, I've just noticed. Of the Grand Master in all his regalia, apparently miming to The Greatest Love of All for reasons that no one would ever know, apart from the fact that we do, because we put the thing together in the first. Yeah. Why they picked on Whitney Houston, The Greatest Love of All, for 45 minutes, I have no idea. But let's check in with Sister Holly to see if they're going to get any forgiveness at all.
Gosh, it's a tricky one. It was such a rookie error not turning on the microphone.
But you're a radio producer, so you're not coming at this impartially.
I think they should have maybe come clean and just said, look, I'm so sorry, we didn't turn the microphone on, we'll refund you the £30. I think that's what they should have done. Dubbing it over with The Greatest Love of All. Why that song of all songs?
Most peculiar.
And also, like, you may as well just not dub it with any music at all. It's the same effect, really. Either way, they'd be disappointed when they open that package and realise that their lovely speech wasn't there. And
does anyone ever watch these things back? I suspect that maybe no one at the Mason, maybe it's still there, still wrapped by Grace and Larry
purposes,
in case they need it, but no one's ever bothered to check.
Even so, I still think they should have come clean and just told the truth. And so for that reason, I don't forgive.
Brother from another gutter.
Yes, I think we've established on the show before that there are only two things watched even less than wedding videos, and that is christening videos. It's in the water, it's out of the water,
what about
it's
speeches
back in the water.
From the Masons?
And speeches by the Masons.
That's
Big
below.
King Mason, and below even that. So no one was going to watch this video anyway, and frankly, putting some Whitney Houston on it was only going to improve it. So nothing to be forgiven for.
Do you forgive Grace and Larry? On the text, please, 61054. First word is Simon. People's verdict is in on tonight's confession, which came from Grace and Larry, who set up a little video recording business for weddings and christenings and Masonic speeches, except they got their biggest gig ever and forgot to turn on the microphone. So instead of Lord Chief Mason guy, they got The Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston non-stop for 45 minutes. The people's verdict goes like this.
So John is forgiving. Even though they didn't have the technical ability to turn on the microphone, they did have the technical expertise of dubbing music onto a VHS video. Impressive technique. tech skills. Mick says, I agree with Matt. The speech was probably incredibly boring, and I'm sure Whitney over the top improved the video. And Gemma in Glasgow also forgiving. Who's going to rewatch that speech? No one. Totally think Grace and Larry did the right thing.
Yeah, I suspect very few people go back and watch all that stuff because the technology has changed anyway and you haven't got the machine needed.
No.
If you have a confession, send it to confessions@greatesthitsradio.co.uk.